So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for Coffee Conversations. I'm so excited. I know I say that every time. I'm going to keep saying it every time. But today is Allie Brettnacher, and she's amazing. So Allie and I met when we both worked in tech in Indy. I mean, I still work in tech, but that we met at previous companies. And Allie has been involved with linking Indie women for forever, and that's might be why she sounds really familiar to you. But she also just started a passion project and a business, and it's doing awesome. And I should have brought my Indie Monthly magazine. I was going to hold it up, and I got sidetracked. But just an Indie Monthly, so she's doing athlete bouquets, and I cannot wait to talk about that and why that passion project has driven her to where she is now. So, Allie, thank you for talking to me this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited too.
I'm so excited. Okay, so what would you say, because you're a brand new entrepreneur, so what would you say, and you're pregnant, and you have a child, not counting a husband. So like, what do you do? What's your day?
Oh, gosh, well, it's been so different now that I get to do whatever the hell I want all day.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. It's been so nice. So yeah, I mean, every day is really different. I'm fortunate enough to typically have a couple of orders to work on in the morning, which I typically, knock out. And then I, do things like this where I continue to network, hopefully more in person. I got to go on a walk today, which was really nice with another human being. Good for the soul. But yeah, just being able to do what I want has been really amazing.
So why did you start? So let's start there, and we can kind of backtrack into the other things that you've done. But I really want to focus on Athlete Bouquets. So why did you start it? What was that catalyst for you?
It's so weird, Jillian, because you would have told me this like back in, I don't know, December, when I left my day job, that I would have started something, which I actually still struggle to call a business, which I need
to is a business.
That I was going to start something. I would have been like, okay, like, I'm about to have a baby, literally 2 weeks from today, having a baby. And, I've never done my own thing before. I would have thought you were nuts. And so literally it was, I think the week after I left my day job, I was scrolling through Instagram and had a moment of inspiration. I am a huge runner, love Peloton. I'm a member of, the Peloton cult that has now formed because of COVID. And I just thought, gosh, what if we could better celebrate races or accomplishments that relate to this? And so I went down a Google rabbit hole. I couldn't find anything like what I was thinking of. And so I thought, well, I could do that. And so then I literally went to Hobby Lobby that week and just bought a ton of stuff and started messing around and got feedback from friends. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just start an Etsy then.
It's so good. It's so good. And for disclosure, for people that are like, what are athlete bouquets? So they are like foam rollers and water bottles as vessels. Mm-hmm. And then you're filling them with, I do not run. So there are some things in there that I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So tell us what's in a bouquet.
Yeah, and I should have had one with me to show you, but it's things like that you would use for a run or a race or while working out. So it's like fuel, like goo or like chews that you might use to fuel up during a race, packets of peanut butter, hair ties, Vaseline, blister Band-Aids, sweat towels, like stuff like that you're actually going to use versus, the idea of somebody getting you an actual bouquet of flowers when you do a race. So
I love it so much. And I love this project. And I did message Allie. I will say I have a friend that has never done a 5K, or at least hasn't done one in a very long time, and really, really wanted to do one. That was her goal. And so Allie was really lovely and put something, a more motivation one together of the foam roller and the you can do it. And it completely brought her to tears. It was completely unexpected and really lovely. And I'm super grateful that you did that. Okay, so before we get because I really want to talk about Athlete Bouquets, but you do linking indie women, and that's how a lot of people know you. So Sarah Lacey, a beautiful human being, started this, and you have been working with her. Tell people, if they don't know, what is Linking Indie Women?
Yeah, so Linking Indie Women is a community of women, primarily in the Indianapolis area, that meet once a month to hear from an inspiring woman in our community, and not on a topic, but more about her personal and professional journey, so her story. And of course, with COVID, we've been meeting virtually every month, but typically we have them speak, and then at the end we have Q&A, and then we've also been doing some virtual networking, because of course when we were in person, that was the beauty, really linking and connecting women in our community. But it's our events are free, so there's no like membership, you don't have to join anything, you just sign up, show up. We also have an option to donate to a nonprofit of our speakers choosing. So there's that aspect of it as well. But it's actually been around for last August. I think it was last August. It was 10 years.
Gosh.
Insane that Sarah had started it. And now I've been doing it with her for 6, I believe.
Wow.
Years. So yeah, there's been so many, countless relationships that have started. That I have now from that community. So if you're in Indy, or if you're not, frankly, now that we're on Zoom all the time, you can join the event. Incredible.
Well, I'll make sure that we link to it. We'll link to Linking Indie Women on the slide here, and we'll put it in IG, because it really is a wonderful community. I've had opportunity to meet a lot of really incredible women that have helped me on my journey, and the ability to network has been wonderful. Not to mention, who doesn't like to go and be inspired at like 7:30 in the morning, and you're like, hell yeah. It's really, really good. It's really good.
Worth it for sure.
100%. Okay. So we kind of talked about how you got here, right? And the why you wanted to do Athlete Bouquets. But have you found, like, as with any startup, right? No matter whether it's digital, brick and mortar, out of your, guest bedroom, what has been some of that struggle for you?
Oh gosh. Well, I think part of the biggest struggle, and I know we're probably going to talk about this more too, is just like the fear of it.
Yeah.
The hardest part is starting. And so, one of the things that I feel like, I'm fairly good at is just doing it, just being like, okay, well, this is an idea that I have and could be fun. Let's just give it a try. And so I start, and then kind of the fear sets in. You're like, what did I do? And then Indianapolis Monthly is like, can we put it in our magazine? And you're like, sure. Now it has to be like even more legit. So yeah, I mean, that's a big piece of it, but also there's so much that I'm learning, which is the fun part about it, really, is that, you mentioned we met when we were in tech, right? So I'm not used to like making things with my hands. So that's been really, really nice to be able to switch it up and do something different there. But yeah, now I've lost my train of thought. Thanks, pregnancy.
No, you're good. Well, let's talk about, so let's just pull on that fear thread a little bit, because that is really scary. I mean, I remember when I left a job in tech, to open something, and I, failed, learned a shit ton. I would hope, failed up, but failed. And that's really, really scary to put yourself out there. So, for people listening, people want and have passions, right? And I think that first step is really scary. So what kind of motivated you, other than your Peloton cult, to like just go do it, right? To just take that first step? Or, what was that relief like when you did? Pull on that a little bit for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like midlife crisis, like
You're too young. Yeah.
So like hopefully quarter life crisis. But just the thing where it's like, if not this, or if not now, when? I love that. I have that on a wall in Sydney's room, my daughter. But it's like, yeah, if not now, when? And it's a really bad time for me to start a business, frankly, because I'm having a baby, like I mentioned. So it's kind of, that part of it is very strange. But, I just think that, so what if it fails? Who cares? me.
I love that.
You know, I tell myself that a lot, not because I'm not important and people don't value me, but it's just like, at the end of the day, who cares?
Yeah. What's the worst that can happen?
The worst that could happen. I mean, it's really, a lot of that is just lies that you're telling yourself, which we all the time. And it's just like figuring out how to ignore them, or push them off and just be like, what's the worst that could happen? Like,
I just feel like a linking into women talk is coming from you in the next in the next year. It's going to be so good. Well, with some of that, like doing it anyway, if not now, when, right? Where have you found delight in the past year or yesterday?
yeah, I would say a lot of the delight has now started now that I've like ventured away from what I was doing.
Yeah.
It was just, you know, a long time coming. Some burnout. I think COVID and all of that just kind of led to this like, let's do something I like. Why am I not super thrilled with what I'm doing? So yeah, gosh, Jillian, I like forgot the question again.
No, where's that delight?
Like, Jesus.
Yeah. You're pregnant. You're fine.
No, it's weird. I swear, pregnancy brain, if you've not been pregnant, like prepare yourself. It is a thing.
It is.
I haven't had my one cup of coffee yet, but delight, like I really have enjoyed like making things.
Yeah.
I've gone down this crafting, like YouTube rabbit hole. I have met so many women locally, like that have their own Etsy businesses and learned from them and just started just trying all these things. Like I know how to make paper flowers now and like all this random stuff that, like, again, if you would have told me months ago, this is what you're going to be doing, I would be insane. But it's just been so delightful to have this creative outlet and like let it be and like just be able to let loose a little bit there, because, you know, in my career path so far, I haven't used that creativity. And so that has been really delightful and such a surprise. And now that like the space that I have literally in our guest room coming, we have a Murphy bed now. So at least like, it doesn't look as much like a guest room, but yeah, it's just been so much fun.
I love that for you. I mean, I hope more women are inspired to take that deep breath and, you know, and find that delight in tactile things again. So moving along again, trying to be aware of time, but how can the community, like, what are some of those needs and how can the community show up for new business, old business, linking indie women? You know, how can the community show up?
I love that question, Jillian. It's, you know, first, for linking to women, just come to our events, register, come to the events, tell other people about the events. You know, that's how that community continues to grow and become more and more valuable to the community. And then for, you know, female business owners, and for me, like with AthleteBouquets, like you did, Jillian, support them. Go buy something from them. Thank you for doing that. That is the number one way, really, is just like, hey, I'm trying to figure all this out. I could sure use more customers, and feedback. And, you know, with Etsy, you know, following the shop, writing a review if you've made a purchase, just sharing it. That means so much. You know, following along on Instagram. I've tried to, gosh, we all know how hard social media is if you've tried to build a community and a following there. So that's cool. But I just think, you know, supporting them with your dollars is really great. So that would be wonderful. And I also I'm still so early on that I'm craving feedback. Like, tell me what sucks. Really, like, you're like, what the hell? Like, I don't like that, or I would never pay that for that. And so I'm just constantly looking for feedback and, you know, and other connections too in the world of fitness and direct to consumer type of businesses. So I think, you know, if you're trying to support other women entrepreneurs, just, you know, asking them, also just reaching out and asking, hey, is there anything I can do?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it so much. Okay. Always big question to these short conversations. How are you, Allie Brettnacher? How are you leaving your trace on this community?
Well, I think about leaving my trace on the community, but even more so now, especially that I'm thinking so much about motherhood. I think a lot about my trace on my daughters, soon to be daughters. And so I'll touch on that first and then the community part. But like for my daughters, I think about this all the time. I want to be a model, not a martyr. I don't know who said that or made up that phrase, but it will forever be my mantra, where I want to inspire the heck out of them. But I don't want to give my entire self away in the process. So that's that. And then on the community, for me, I always love helping. And I think that's what's drawn me to be part of Linking Indie Women for as long as I have. And also, getting involved. Now I'm involved on a local board beyond Monumental as well. And just giving back and really wanting to help. And now with my business, helping people celebrate milestones and accomplishments that are extremely important to them and their, family and friends, all of that combined. Like I want to be helpful. And while doing that, I want to be happy.
Oh my gosh.
Ask.
Gosh, that's actually might be one of the best thought out answers that we've got. It was so lovely. Allie, thanks for having coffee. Cause this is one of those hard parts, always with Trace is it's just nuggets, right? 15 to 30 minutes, depending. But definitely one of those conversations where I'm like, maybe we should have a podcast. We should talk about these things, which no one needs me to have a podcast, full disclosure.
Come on.
But you're just so lovely and inspiring. And I'm a sucker for a passion project. So thank you for doing it and showing other women and your kids what you're doing and that you can lead with happiness while also finding joy. So thank you for having coffee and sharing part of your journey with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.